So I'm here to tell the story of one of my favorite experiences, and one of the most amazing experiences, I would have to say, I've had as a medium. And there are many, many, many to choose from. But this one stands out simply because it was a communication that just kept going and going and going long after the reading itself. So this is the story of Bobby and Gail. So Gail is the mother of Bobby, and I was referred to her by a friend when Bobby died unexpectedly. He was just 30 years old, and Gail was understandably inconsolable when it happened. She was looking for answers, as there were questions around his passing, but mostly just wanted to know that he was okay. So we connected on the phone, and he came in immediately. It was very clear. I could feel his energy, but mostly his lightness. There was like a joy, a light. It's hard to explain, I guess, but I know Bobby's energy now because I've brought him several times, and it's always beautiful. So the reading progressed in a way that answered Gail's questions. He was fairly clear about some of the events surrounding his passing, and I can't remember all of the reading. It's that part of it's sort of fuzzy. What I remember more is the end of it, when he wanted to come up with a system of communication that would enable Gail to know that he was around and that he was present with her and communicating with her. And so he chose the color yellow, yellow roses, and the number 4. Now these things had all been talked about in the reading, and Gail understood the color yellow because that was one of her favorite colors, and she understood the number 4 because that was also like a favorite number, and it's also the number of spirit. It's a number that I look for from spirit, but that was the number that Bobby chose. But she did not connect with the yellow roses. She didn't feel like there was any real significance to that, and was doubtful anything would come through with yellow roses, but she was going to be open to it. And so we ended our phone call, and as I looked at my iPhone, I got the very first post-reading communication because my iPhone said 1:44 p.m. and I had 44% battery remaining. So I was like, wow, that's fast. So I sent off a quick text to Gail to tell her that Bobby had already begun his communications, and she sent back a thumbs up. That's my Bobby. And then about an hour later, I was working on my house, renovating my house, and I was wearing one of those little like a cloth apron, tool apron. And I put my hand into the apron and I pulled out a business card that I'd gotten from a contractor at Home Depot like a couple days prior. Come to think of it, it might have been right about the time that I set up the reading with Gail. And the email address on this business card was kind of amazing because it was G Force 444. G as in Gail, Gail Force 444. So that was pretty cool. I sent a picture of that off to Gail in the text, and she was happy about that. But that wasn't the end for that day. About, I don't know, maybe an hour or two later, I walked into my foyer, and I had just cleaned the whole floor, just vacuumed everything, so there shouldn't have been anything on the floor. But there was a square piece of yellow paper. So I picked it up and I turned it over, and there was the number 4 on it. I was like, wow, Bobby, that's amazing. And then there was something familiar about it. So I thought, wait, I made some number papers like this for a mediumship event I was running at the museum But it had been a couple months, not a couple months, but probably a couple of weeks, maybe. I don't know, sometime prior. So I went upstairs looking for those numbers to see if there was any way I could have carried one of them down. But no, they were all in an envelope, in a folder, in my desk. And I pulled out those numbers, and they were all much larger. The cards were larger, the numbers were larger. So that little number didn't fit anything, but it did look like it came from my printer and my paper. So I don't know how he got it there, but he did. So that was pretty cool. Again, sent it off to Gail. She was excited. So then, let's see here. What's the next? I took notes because there's so many things that happened. So 4 days later, I got an email from Gail, and in the email was attached a photo of Bobby's portrait sitting in a nest of yellow flowers, including roses, from the memorial that they had held for Bobby. And of course, all of these pictures, or all of the flowers had been chosen by Gail, and she had forgotten about all the yellow roses. So there was significance to the yellow rose, not just that it's a color of strength and healing for the solar plexus, one sense of identity, which per Bobby, hers took a hit, as a mother. Bobby was her only child, and the energy of the solar plexus is going to be something that's going to take a hit when you lose your only child to spirit. So anyway, there were the yellow roses, and so that was pretty cool. And I got to see Bobby's picture for the first time, and I could see the light in his eyes. I felt very connected to him and to his energy. So a week later, I got another email from Gail, and in the email were two interesting pieces of information. First was that she just realized that the address of the mortuary that they had used was 4444 Cochrane Street. There it is, once again. And on that same day, she was feeling kind of low and was just thinking about Bobby and wishing she could hear his voice, and then remembered that she had some voicemails on her phone. So she went searching for voicemails from Bobby and discovered she had exactly 4 of them. And everyone was Bobby just calling to say, "I love you, Mom." So that definitely brought her spirits up. And then, let's see, 2 days after that, I got another email from Gail, and it was a Sunday, and she and her husband had been to church, and the hymn that they were about to sing was on page 177. But just as they were all trying to find the hymn, the minister changed it to hymn 444. That's right. And the title of that hymn was, "I Love to Tell His Story." "Can you believe it?" wrote Gail. "I cried with joy. My boy is letting me know he's okay."